Okay guys, today we will be talking about this little guy here, the Fiio K11 R2R. I will cover two topics in this short review. I will describe the sound characteristics of this DAC amp, headphone amplifier, and I can tell already now, I liked it. I liked this gentle, polite, smooth way of presenting music through some of my headphones that I have here. But I also have to talk about another topic of the K11 R2R, and that is its power supply. Because yeah, when I plugged it into my desktop, this is the sound the power supply made. And I haven't had only one power supply, I had two, and they both made this sound. So this is something I want to address as well, and I will get back to that. But first, we will be talking about the sound characteristics. So the Fiio K11 R2R, it is very smooth, it is very gentle and also polite. It doesn't present the most details, it doesn't have these razor sharp edges. There's no brightness in the sound. So this unit doesn't focus on the details in the music, it rather focuses on the emotion it wants to deliver. Now you see the unit here, it has one knob. With this knob basically you control everything. You control the menu settings that there are, and you also control the volume. There's two headphone outputs. The one is single-ended, the other one is balanced. The balanced output, it gives the power of 1300 milliwatts. The single-ended output gives the power of 460 milliwatts. And I will get back to that because I only had the opportunity to use the single-ended output with the headphones that I had at hand here. On the back side we see a few inputs, not too many, but I think for most use cases they're going to suffice. A USB-C input if you want to connect it to your desktop computer or to your MacBook. There's an optical input, there's a coaxial input, and there is a linear output with RCA connectors if you want to use it as a preamp. And I also did that. I used it as a preamp in my main system, but also to that I will get back. The sound of the Fiio K11 R2R is always on the smooth and on the gentle side. If I compare it out of my memory, to be honest, because I don't have this unit here anymore, to some Topping DACs that I had, they always had a bit more of a presentation of details. The highs were brighter and more brittle and crisp in their presentation. You won't find this here. So if you're looking for a DAC headphone amp combination that presents you every little detail that you can find in the recording, and like sharp highs and you know, this exciting spark in the highs, yeah, the Fiio will not be your product. The Fio's character is certainly on the relaxed and smooth side. It has a NOS mode, a non-oversampling mode, and an oversampling mode. And yes, there is a audible distinct difference. The non-oversampling mode sounded even a bit smoother and even more gentle and relaxed, and the highs rolled off and packed into this warm roundness of sound. The OS mode had a little bit more air in the music, and the highs were a little bit more crisp. It is nuances, but the nuances were clearly audible. I tested the Fiio K11 R2R with three different headphones, or better, two headphones, one pair of IEMs. First, the Sennheiser HD5X. This is a mass drop version. They come from a time when mass drop still delivered products to Europe. The Meze 99 Classic, and as in-ears, I used in-ears from IKKO. These are OH1 Meteors. Beautiful little in-ears, beautiful build quality, and I also like the sound very much of these little guys here. So coming to the sound is very much related also to the power output of the Fiio K11 R2R. It is the single-ended output is rated at 460 milliwatts, but I don't know, I'm not too sure about this. The Sennheiser's HD5X, they like power to get to their full potential on how they sound, and with the Fiio K11 R2R, it was not so much to my liking. I had the feeling that it was just lacking. The sound was a bit thin and lean, and the overall presentation was kind of collapsing. I believe the Sennheiser HD58X just need a little bit more power than what the Fiio could deliver. The Meze 99 Classic, that was a nice match. The Meze 99 Classic are rated at 32 ohm impedance. The power delivery of the Fiio K11 R2R was well enough for these guys, and there I had this smooth and gentle and fun for listening to music. This V-shaped equalizer curve, the high is a bit boosted, the bass a bit boosted, but the Meze 99 Classic present that very, very well. It's a fun headphone, at least for me. And similar story is with the IKKOs, with the in-ears. They also have a kind of full and a little bit of a darkish character, and yeah, that was also a quite good match to the Fiio K11 R2R. For me, it had a little bit of a darker character. It was certainly not on the light and bright side. I didn't have a chance to test out the balanced output. The balanced output supposedly delivers quite a bit more power, so yeah, for many headphones that may be the better choice than to go. A quick comparison that I do want to mention here, although it's not a fair comparison, is to this unit here is the Aune N7. The reason why I want to mention this comparison here is just to outline the effect of power delivery on the Sennheiser HD5X. This thing here delivers quite a bit more power, and yeah, the Sennys were alive with the Aune N7. But yeah, this will be a different review. Spoiler alert, yeah, sounds fantastic. Now, because I like playing around, you know, I'm a hi-fi nerd, so I put this little R2R DAC into my main system. And the way I plugged it in was I used the Linn Selekt streamer. I went out digitally with a coax cable. Coax cable was connected to the Fiio K11 R2R, and the Fiio K11 R2R was further connected to the active speakers from Buchardt. These are the Buchardt A10 anniversary active. Yeah. If I just move a little bit to the side, you can also see them here behind me. So how did this work? Well, the story is similar than with the headphones, because the main sound characteristic stays the same. You know, it has this mellow, very friendly, very gentle and very laid back, kind of lush presentation of music. In my main system, I could see a little bit of a shortcoming in the control of the bass. The bass seemed to be looser than when I have it connected to the DAC of the Linn or other DACs that I have here. There's just more control and more tightness in the bass. There it was a bit too loose for my taste, and also the whole staging was sometimes it felt a little bit disconnected. But the overall character of the Fiio totally stayed intact also when connected to my main system. It just had this sit back on the couch, stop thinking about things and just enjoy music. I do like this R2R DAC, and considering the price point of 180 euros, yeah, that's incredible. Getting this sound quality for this price, that is quite something. Moving on to the sound that the power supply made when I connected it in my office, in my desktop situation, because basically this is why I bought the Fiio K11. I want to use it to be connected to my desktop computer. When I'm sitting at my computer and I listen to music, I mainly use JRiver to go through my digital music library, and sometimes when I just work, I have my headphones on and I just listen to a few tunes while working. But yeah, in that setup, being plugged into one of these multiple plugs, the power supply started to make this noise. Now, I've had many different power supplies connected in these plugs in the office at exactly the same sitting position. I have never ever heard with any of the power supplies this kind of whistling noise. This is maybe a ground loop. Considering that I've had many different power supplies, and I still have many different power supplies plugged into this multiple plug there, and none of them ever made this noise, I don't think it is a systematic problem. I found reports online where they actually stated that the power supply of a desktop PC can trigger the whistling noise in the Fiio. I contacted Fiio I did not get any answer. They sent me a second power supply, but it didn't take that much long, and the second power supply also started to give this whistling noises. So I believe there is a connection to my desktop PC that I have there, but nevertheless I want to use this unit at exactly this spot. The power supply issue really is an issue for me, because I need utter silence at my desktop place, at my office place, because when I work and I have to focus on certain tasks, I cannot have whistling noises, and if the only option to stop the whistling noise is to unplug, I don't think that's the best solution. Another solution, of course, would be get an external power supply, get even a linear power supply. That would most certainly eliminate any problems and most likely enhance the sound quality. I guess there's enough reports out there that say that the sound quality with a linear power supply, may it be Fio's own linear power supply, the sound quality does enhance. That would be an option. For me, it takes a little bit away the point of getting a nice and cheap DAC headphone amp, because if I have to spend another 200 or 300 euros for an external linear power supply, I may as well get a more expensive DAC amp from the beginning. So yeah, but I guess this is a matter of, you know, personal taste and personal preference. You most certainly enhance the sound quality with a linear power supply, with an external linear power supply, and it would solve the problem. If there are any super electricians here on the channel listening to this, and you just know immediately what the problem is, leave a comment. I'm more than interested to learn more.